Hello and welcome to Game Day U, Oklahoma's only weekly football pregame show on TV. I'm your host, Cam Williams, and I'm joined alongside my esteemed analysts, Michael Thompson and Andrew West. Plus, Game Day U reporters Hallie McPherson and Darby McCormick will be live from Columbia, South Carolina, previewing today's matchup with the Gamecocks. But first, let's take a look at the highlights from last week's Red River rivalry in Dallas, and tensions flared high pregame between the two clubs. But we're going to start off on the first possession of the game as Tate Sandell knocks this 42-yard field goal through, which makes it 3-0 OU. Moving to the waning seconds of the first half, and John Mateer lost this ball for Deion Burks, and it's going to be intercepted by Malik Muhammad. A missed opportunity there for the Sooners. We're now going to move to the third quarter, and Arch Manning is going to find DeAndre Moore in the back of the end zone for the 12-yard score to put the Horns up 10-6. The Sooners are still in striking distance until this 75-yard punt return by Ryan Niblett sends OU's Red River dreams away, and the Horns end up with the win 23-6. This was the worst performance of the season for the Sooners as Texas completely shut down the Sooners' offensive attack, forcing 3 turnovers and not allowing any running lanes for these Sooner running backs.
Yeah, well, the horrific management of the end of the first half in the 2018 Rose Bowl looks pretty good now, Cam, after Brent Venables absolutely botched the end of the first half against Texas. Wasting 30 seconds, then calling a timeout, just for Mateer to chuck the ball straight to the defense was textbook how to lose momentum.
I don't put the blame on John Mateer. Granted, the last time an OU quarterback threw 3 picks against Texas was way back in 2002 when Nate Hibble threw 4. Difference is, OU somehow won that game, but Hibble is also not coming off a thumb surgery. This team is too one-dimensional on offense, and Texas exposed that. Hallie, how are y'all feeling over in funnel cake country?
Hey guys, we are standing in front of the South Carolina Cockaboos, and this train actually has more momentum than OU's offense did last weekend. A top 10 team not scoring in a game is hard to do, but OU has managed to do that 2 years in a row in the Red River game.
Yeah, Hallie, OU offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle caught a lot of flack after the loss versus Texas, after his offense couldn't consistently move the ball in the running game or passing game to create points, but Arbuckle knows he has to help his defense going forward.
I think we have a very, very talented defense, so any way that I can help them out, I'm going to. Is there things that we can do on offense that, maybe we've been inefficient in some areas, or we just had some execution errors, or we've had some, self-inflicted wounds? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you got to be complimentary with your defense in order to win in this conference, because it is a one-possession league.
When SEC Nation was in town, Jordan Rogers told me that Ben Arbuckle is an offensive wizard, but this run game looks like it's cursed. Twice this year, the Sooners have averaged under 2 yards per carry, which leads to losses like last weekend. Torrey Blaylock leads the team in carries and wants to do his part to make this running game powerful.
Obviously, I want to be better, but as a group, we all want to be better. I got to create explosive plays. That's what you come here for. All the greats did it. And go down the list of people who create explosive plays here. So it's just a reflection on me, just trying to be better, be the best I can.
Like I said earlier, I don't blame Mateer. Coming off a thumb surgery while not being able to practice fully in 2 weeks, that was a problem even Martha Stewart couldn't fix. But Mateer knows the spots he has to improve.
It's decision making, taking another breath and really seeing the field and seeing, knowing the situation and not guessing and doing too much. I think that's what came up, and I'm obviously not happy about it, and nobody should be. But the teammates, they have my back, and I appreciate that.
Hallie, this Sooner offense performed poorly in Dallas, but the defense did its part and played well enough to win. What do you have more on Texas's defensive performance?
Cam, on the defensive side of things, OU's defense entered that Red River game number 2 nationally and then gave up 302 total yards and forced 0 turnovers. But OU's defense says feeling sorry for themselves won't get them far in the rest of their schedule.
A loss hurts. Nothing we can do about it now. So it's still a lot of football left. It's our 6 games, 6 more left that we get guaranteed. So if we keep looking back at this loss and oh me or woe is me and feeling sorry about ourselves now, we won't continue to prepare for the next games, which we could ultimately lose too.
Well, you've heard the saying lightning doesn't strike twice, but what about state fairs? We've got all the festivities that we got into, as well as the Gamecock and Sooner fans we met along the way, coming up next.
Mom was always organized, but she started forgetting to pay her bills on time.
And she'd buy the same gifts over and over. Telling the girls about my Alzheimer's diagnosis was really hard.
At first we had our cries, but then we were like, okay, let's make a plan.
Early detection gave us time to adapt together.
It's so important for you to think about what you can do and making the most of what you have.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
We said we'd never give in to a meltdown.
Mariella!
Never leave the house looking, well, and never let them out of our sight. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
Welcome back to Game Day U. The Sooners face a South Carolina squad who's desperate for a win in conference play. Game Day U reporter Darby McCormick has more on the Gamecocks.
Cam, it's been a great weekend here in South Carolina, and I mean, how can it not be when this is the second state fair that the Sooners have played in or near in just 1 month? Take a look.
Columbia, South Carolina, home of the South Carolina State Fair.
And it's a lot of fun. My favorite part's the food, but the rides are also really good as well.
A state fair unfamiliar to Sooner fans.
It's fine, it's fun, good food, a little bit smaller than usual, but not bad.
New rides, new bites, and new heights, all first coming out of Columbia this weekend, considering that this is the first time that the Sooners will be playing in Williams-Brice Stadium.
When they were coming to our home state where we live now, we just drove up from Charleston to hopefully see Boomer Sooners crush the Gamecocks.
And what do Sooners think of Gamecock fans?
Like OU, they love their team. Sometimes too much.
It's a real good community. Everyone's very welcoming.
Lots of passion. There's not much here except for the Gamecocks.
But passion isn't far-fetched when describing OU fans either.
Our dog's name is Boomer. He has a giant OU tattoo going down the side of his body.
Both teams have had their lows this season, with OU having OU Texas.
You know, that was pretty rough.
I feel a little bit better about it just because of last weekend's game.
In South Carolina, losing their offensive lineman coach.
Not incredibly ideal. I just hope that our O-line can just adapt to the strategy.
Two teams not so different from one another, going head-to-head for the first time in Gamecock country.
24-21. I think maybe we might win.
31-14 OU. I hope we can score points. For the love of God, please.
I just hope he behaves if they don't win, but we're hoping for a win.
Jury's still out. We'll see.
I'm all for wishful thinking, but at some point in time, all you really have is hope and maybe, just maybe, a state fair turkey leg. But that's all that I got from me here in Columbia. Back to you, Cam.
Thanks, Darby. A certain Sooner has risen his play to the next level this year with more opportunities, and his teammates and coaches know the sky's the limit for his potential. Gameday reporter Kevin Daniel has more on this week's Sooner Spotlight.
Yeah, Cam is a three-star recruit out of high school in Tennessee. Taylor Wine could have easily gotten lost in the shuffle of OU's dominant defensive line. Instead, he's made a name for himself this season, despite not being the Sooners' first choice.
He was one of those add-ons late. We had a guy, that decommitted late, and we found him immediately. I'm like, man, this guy might be every bit, if not better than the guy we lost. That's literally the conversation in the moment. Coach Chavis, he's ready to jump off the bridge down here at I-35, and I'm like, man, this guy is better, I'm telling you. Then they wanted to commit before they even got here, and then you're like, whoa, I know we offered you, but you're not supposed to say yes right away.
I'm not good enough. Got to get better. A lot of areas, and got to keep working, keep shoveling, and keep getting better. And attention to details, fundamentals, getting lined up, and I'm gonna continue to work on it, and Lord willing, get better each week. The spirits hasn't changed. We're focused on getting better, and one loss doesn't. It's not going to defeat this team. That's not who we are, and we're just going to learn from it and get better. And that's all we're worried about right now.
The Sooners will look for Wine's work ethic and intensity today against South Carolina, as he currently leads the team in tackles for loss with 8.5 and is second in sacks with 3.5. Cam, back to you.
Thanks, Kevin. When we come back, we'll have more on this morning's showdown with South Carolina. Stick around for more Game Day U. Welcome back to Game Day U. The Sooners face a hungry South Carolina squad led by Lenore Sellers, who's looking to rack up wins heading into the back half of the season. I was at SEC Media Days and caught up with the Gamecocks. I'm Cam Williams, reporting inside the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta at SEC Media Days. The Gamecocks won't be wearing white when the Sooners travel to South Carolina in South Carolina for the first time, but the Gamecock faithful will be ready and loud. And for Heisman hopeful Lenore Sellers, he knows his hands will be full facing a Brent Venables-led defense.
It was fun to play, just be in that stadium. It's a bigger stadium. I know a couple of guys from Oklahoma. Obviously, Spencer was there. Then Davis Bevel, who I trained with, was there. And then just being in the stadium, hearing the Boomer Sooner for the first time, playing against the defense, confusing defense that they were. It's not like it'd be the same thing every game, every play, but had a good scheme as well, physical, fast, and all that. So I'm super excited for them to come Columbia this year.
And South Carolina head coach Shane Beamer knows from his 3 years at OU that setting your quarterback up for success is key.
I was at Oklahoma with Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts and being around guys like that, those guys that are weapons with their feet. You want to have that as a part of your offense, but you also want to be smart too, especially in this league with the defenses that we play week in, week out.
Beamer also understands that as a team, the Gamecocks need to stay focused no matter the circumstances.
Being level-headed, like Coach Beamer always preaches it, he knows the type of guys we have in the locker room. So just staying in the locker room, not really worried about what the media say.
Last year, the Gamecocks demolished the Sooners in a lopsided affair, 35-9. Now, the Sooners will look to get revenge. Reporting from inside the College Football Hall of Fame, Cam Williams, Game Day U. Thanks, Cammie. Like OU, South Carolina's offensive output hasn't been the prettiest this season. They are dead last in the SEC in total offense and 5th in rushing. This OU defense should feast.
Well, South Carolina averages just over 22 points a game, which should be great news for OU since they have the #1 total defense. Rivalry games are always crazy, so assuming OU's defense remembers that they actually are dominant, this should be a bounce-back game for OU.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good OU is right now, but I know the Gamecocks are worse. South Carolina is tied for 132nd in the country in penalties. As long as OU can take advantage of early short yardage and can get Shane Beamer's boys behind the sticks, they'll leave Columbia 6-1. Hallie?
Andrew, after South Carolina lost to LSU, they had another loss the very next day. Their offensive line coach. South Carolina's O-line has allowed 20 sacks so far this season, and that should be music to OU's D-line's ears. OU bounces back today.
Thanks, Hallie. Now let's take a look at the SEC slate of games for Week 8 of the 2025 season as Taylor Green and his high-powered Arkansas offense plays host to Marcel Reed and the 6-0 Aggies in Fayetteville.
Well, the two remaining teams that Oklahoma will travel to face off in Tuscaloosa. Tennessee will look for a statement win against Alabama after barely losing to Georgia, but they have not faced a team that is currently ranked since then. This is where we see if Joey Aguilar and Rocky Top are legit.
And it's a big one in Athens today, and I know what you're thinking, but no, it's not F1. 9th-ranked Georgia hosts 5th-ranked Ole Miss, while the Bulldogs are sitting at about a touchdown favorite. I got faith in Ruddle quarterback Trinidad Chambliss. Kirby won't be clapping after this one. Ole Miss wins it. Hallie, what you got?
Andrew, a top 20 showdown unfolds in Nashville today. LSU and Vanderbilt are both 5-1, and both of their losses come from ranked teams. Vandy hasn't beaten LSU since 1990. Will Diego Pavia and the Commodores make history today as the underdogs?
That Georgia versus Ole Miss top 10 showdown will be one I won't miss. When Gameday U returns, we're back talking about the Sooners and things to watch for against South Carolina.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/act now.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
All right, look at you taking the stairs. Who are you?
We're your lungs. We are proud of you for quitting smoking, but you still may be at risk for lung cancer.
A routine cancer scan can detect it early when it's more curable.
Good to know. Well, I gotta go somewhere.
So do we.
So do we.
Listen to your lungs. Get a routine screening that could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back to Gameday U. Now, it's time for us to break down some of the things the Sooners need to focus on versus South Carolina. Winning in football is displayed in 3 phases: offense, defense, and special teams. And last week, this Sooner squad didn't perform well in the punt coverage game, giving up a 75-yard touchdown in the 4th quarter, putting the dreams of a Crimson comeback to bed. The kicking game in Tate Sandell showed up, though, as he scored the only points of the game versus Texas. But with South Carolina's dynamic playmakers, OU needs to be on their P's and Q's when covering punts today.
Well, since joining the SEC, OU has not scored more than 2 offensive touchdowns against an SEC team, and their run game is not helping out. Sooner fans will cringe hearing that even with how bad Oklahoma State is, their running game is ranked higher than OU's. There has been little to no help from anyone trying to block for the running backs. Take a look at Jaden Ott here. Yikes. South Carolina is 11th in the SEC in rushing defense, so I think this is a bounce-back week and the Sooners will get back on track.
Jobs are on the line in this one. I'm talking about the offensive staff. We saw Seth Luttrell get canned last season after one of the worst offensive seasons in program history. Inconsistent running back play plus an awful run blocking from the O-line and tight end group. John Mateer ain't safe, and neither are the running backs as long as they're trying to run behind those guys. Cam, this run game reminds me a lot of your future. It's going absolutely nowhere, and if the guys want to get back on track, that running back group just has got to figure it out.
The heart of OU's offense couldn't find a beat in the Cotton Bowl. John Mateer had arguably one of his worst games in his career against Texas. Mateer has never thrown more than 2 interceptions in a game in his college career until last weekend, and he took full accountability for it. Mateer said it was his mind and not his thumb that affected his performance. Mateer had a bad game. He is not a bad player. His redemption could begin today. And that is it from me in South Carolina. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Hallie. We'll see if Mateer can bounce back after the tough outing in Dallas. Coming up after the break, we'll have some new faces on set, ready to make some bold predictions for this weekend's games.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with... Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater. Did you know that items like paint, cleaning solutions, pesticides, solvents, and other chemicals are considered household hazardous waste? These chemicals are dangerous to our environment and water quality when they are dumped in our storm drains or gutters. Fortunately, the City of Norman has a dedicated household hazardous waste facility where you can properly dispose of these items. Call 405-366-5463 to make an appointment. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
Mom was always organized, but she started forgetting to pay her bills on time.
And she'd buy the same gifts over and over.
Telling the girls about my Alzheimer's diagnosis was really hard.
At first we had our cries, but then we were like, okay, let's make a plan.
Early detection gave us time to adapt together.
It's so important for you to think about what you can do and making the most of what you have.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Welcome back to Game Day U, where some new faces are here in studio, ready to give some bold predictions for this 8th weekend of college football. With me are Natalie Orozco, Liz Lackey, and Abigail Nickel. Up first, Garrett Nussmeier and the Louisiana State Tigers are facing Diego Pavia and the Vanderbilt Commodores in a top 25 matchup today.
Vanderbilt last played Alabama and they fumbled that. Commodores quarterback Diego Pavia could not handle the Tide, much less some Tigers. Plus, with a 6'7" tight end like Trey'Dez Green, I don't see Commodores taking him down. Give me LSU.
The Commodores have Diego Pavia as a dual-threat quarterback who leads his team stats in both rushing and passing yards. And Vanderbilt is also ranked 3rd in the SEC for run defense, and that's going to challenge the Tigers, who average only 115 rushing yards per game. Give me Vanderbilt for the win.
Vandy's at home, but let's be real, LSU's offense travels. The Tigers are putting up over 370 yards per game. The Commodores' defense might be good, but the Tigers shouldn't have a problem getting through. LSU is taking this one easy.
Next, a top 10 SEC matchup, number 5 Ole Miss versus number 9 Georgia in Athens. Trinidad Chambliss versus Gunnar Stockton at quarterback. Natalie, who you got?
Cam, Ole Miss is finally playing against some real dogs. Georgia quarterback Gunnar Stockton is ranked amongst the top QBs in the SEC with a 70.6 passing completion rate. I see Stockton leading his team to win over the Ole Miss Rebels.
Well, Natalie, you may think this game is a win for Georgia, but I have to go with the underdogs over the Bulldogs. Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss is averaging 306 total yards per game, which will be hard for the Bulldogs to stop. Hotty-toddy all the way.
Georgia's the dogs, but Ole Miss might be the ones doing the barking. Not only is the offense performing, defensive tackle Xavier Harris has been tearing through lines like it's nothing. The Rebels are crashing the party in Athens. Give me Ole Miss.
Another big-time top 15 SEC matchup. Joey Aguilar and the high-powered Vols travel to Tuscaloosa to face Ty Simpson and Ryan Williams in the Crimson Tide. Natalie, who comes out with the win?
Yeah, Cam, let's talk about Alabama's Heisman contender Ty Simpson. He is one of 4 FBS quarterbacks to record 200 or more passing yards in all 6 games this season. It's the 3rd Saturday of October, and I see Alabama celebrating a 3rd straight October win.
I agree, but actually, I disagree, because Tennessee quarterback Joey Aguilar has thrown 5 interceptions this season, while Alabama's defense has already picked up 6, and I expect them to add to that number today. The Tide will roll right over the Volunteers. Give me Alabama.
Alabama fans keep saying we're back, but Joey Aguilar is outpacing Ty Simpson in passing yards this season. And on the other side of the ball, the Vols lead the SEC in sacks with 26 in just 6 games. The Vols are dominating this one.
And last but not least, the game of the day for Oklahomans, OU at South Carolina in the early slate. Lenora Sellers versus John Mateer, and it should be a good one. Who comes out with the win?
Yeah, the Sooners may be coming from a loss to Texas, but it's only up from here, especially going against a team like South Carolina, who only averages 194.7 passing yards a game compared to Oklahoma's 266.7 average passing yards per game. I got the Sooners for a win.
South Carolina lost to LSU 20-10 on Saturday, putting up only 4 more points than Oklahoma did against Texas. Averaging 389 total offensive yards per game, the Sooners are looking for a comeback, and I think they'll use this weekend to do just that.
I agree. OU may be coming off of a loss, but I don't see the Gamecocks standing in their way. South Carolina may have home field advantage, but they run one of the worst offenses in the SEC. The Sooners are hungry, and the Gamecocks look like chicken is on the menu this weekend.
Sounds like a lot of good games to look out for this weekend. Thanks for watching Game Day U, where it just means more. For Natalie Orozco, Liz Lackey, and Abigail Nickel, I'm Cam Williams. We'll be back next week when OU hosts Ole Miss at home. Have a great Sooner Game Day.